Joining us from Milan right now is the owner of the Utah Jazz. That is Ryan Smith. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing?
What's going on, Ryan? How's things over there? You holding everything down on that side of the world?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good view. It's people are getting ready. It's starting to feel the Olympic spirit, which is good, and it's pretty daunting and exciting that we're going to have this thing in Utah again. It's real. It's becoming real.
Well, you're in a 5-letter city, Milan. We're in a 5-letter city, Nephi. I drove down to Nephi this morning. I'll tell you what, it was a beautiful drive. Yeah, just a little different geography between the two of us. Hey, big stuff this week with the Jazz, and obviously a major move bringing in, just a phenomenal player in Jaren Jackson Jr. Your thoughts?
So first of all, I mean, I think we've said we'd be patient. I mean, I think it's the NBA is an interesting thing. I think you're seeing a lot of change that's happened in the NBA over the last few years around player movement, around value, around teams kind of not wanting to be in the middle. And, we've said we'd be ready. We said we'd be opportunistic. I don't think you could predict timing. Jaren's someone that we'd wanted and inquired about for a few years now. I know Danny's liked him for a long time, and the window opened up very briefly, and, Austin did an absolutely fabulous job. So I thought he handled the deadline as well as he could have. He did incredible, and for us to land someone like Jaren, who fits perfectly with Lowry and Walker, it should be pretty exciting for everybody who follows it. They're going to take a little while to get to play together. Everyone, as Walker's out for the year, and I think we'll kind of see it all gel, but it's pretty exciting.
How much of the accelerated progress of Keyonte George this year allowed you to pull the trigger on a trade like this? Yeah,
I don't think, I think when Jaren comes available, you definitely look at Jaren and, you hope you're the team that, can make it all line up. And a lot of these things you don't know. And, we've had our nose in a lot of things, as a lot of teams did this trade deadline. And, some were happy, some weren't. You just got to be putting yourself in position, and more than that, have the assets that, to be honest, other teams want. And this one worked out in our favor. But, Keyonte definitely helps that. I think if you look at the way he's been growing, the way he carries himself, his energy, his competitiveness, his drive to win, his big shot moments, I don't think there's anyone who's watched Keyonte that isn't just kind of amazed at the steps that he's taking, and he's doing it all the right way. I mean, he'll have multiple games where it'll be 20, 25 points in the first half, and a lot of players his age would be coming out and chucking the second half, and he actually passes the first 5 or 6 times he touches the ball, and that's just a level of maturity that he's developed. But Will Hardy is one of the greatest talent developers that we've got in the NBA and in basketball. And if you look at the development that's going on, even if you look at the last couple of games with Cody now, and you're looking at Isaiah, he's got a talent for that. And we're fortunate to have him. And, that partnership between him and Keyonte, him and Lowry, now him and Jaren, him and Walker, it's special, and we can't wait to kind of put it all together.
I mean, I run into you every now and again because you're so crazy busy, but I remember seeing you before the season, and you just said, watch Keyonte, bro. I think that's what you told me. How did you know? I mean, is that just something – I know you got a pulse on everything, but what were the signs that, that it was coming back a little bit different?
Well, I mean, Keyonte has he has it. I mean, there's just no way around anyone who's around him. He's just got it. He wants the ball. He wants the moment. He's there. For me personally, I remember I was there during this draft workout. I knew the moment Danny fell in love with him. He was doing a drill. We have one of our guys who's about 6'7", 6'8", and he had cones on his hands, and they were blocking him. So he was standing reach about 10-3, and Keyonte went around, and this guy just swatted the ball out of the way. And then the next play, Keontae's like, I'll just shoot a quick three, and he blocked his shot from the foul line. And there was another guy working out too. But the third time, Keyonte literally lowered his shoulder and put the guy about 5 feet under the hoop and laid it in and had some choice words for him.
I love that.
And came back with a ball. And I just looked over at Danny, and he was like, all right, that's my guy. And so I think, but for me this year, it's just watching Keontae's work all summer long. No one asked him to do what he did. He just wants to be better. He wants to get better. And, he's a leader. He's an absolute leader.
I'm always fascinated how trades come together, and I know there's a lot of conversations for several weeks, and it's got a slow build. This one with Jaren Jackson felt like it came together pretty quick. Is that a fair way to categorize it?
Yeah, Austin, like I said, Austin did a phenomenal job. And, I'm sure, I think he checked on Jaren for a long time, as did pretty sure every team in the league. And, he went with his gut. He put together an offer that was compelling. He listened, he collaborated, and he really partnered with Memphis to get something done. And, a lot of times you want to do a trade or you want to do something, but does the other team see what you're offering, help them for where they're going? And that can come in multiple different pictures, whether it's young players or whether it's this. And sometimes, really trying to understand their picture and understand how we can do what we want to do, but also help them, knowing that we're all going to have to sacrifice a little bit, is how truly a deal gets done. And I think Austin did a really good job with that. And, some of our young players we had to, part with, but that's just the way the business works. If you want to get someone like Triple J, like that's how it's going to have to go. And, we had accumulated a lot of picks. I think what I'm most excited about is if you look at our core, where it's Keyonte, Walk, Jaren, Lowry, you've got Ace, you look at Zay, Bryce, and to be in this spot where we've got a runway, but we also aren't down picks, and we still have assets in front of us, is a pretty exciting position to be in, because that lengthens the window that you have in the league. I mean, we grew up with teams having 4 to 7 year windows. If a team can get a 3-year window right now, you've done something right. And, that's just the way today's collective bargaining agreement works, and the way that, we're watching. If you look at where teams have gotten really close and then have to tear it down, it's because they run out of cap space or assets. And, that was the case in the first iteration of the Jazz. There was just nowhere to go right when we took over. We were just, we'd already been negative picks. There was no place to go. I remember the year, we signed Mike Conley back. If we didn't get him, there was no cap space to even replace him. You were essentially replacing him with a two-way player at minimum. And that's typically what hamstrings teams. It's nothing more than that. But that's the rule of our league. And I think for us, what excites us, the youth, the flexibility, and now we're moving this thing forward, what we have in the tank.
Well, I want to make sure we give equal time, because the guys that play on that Frozen stuff are playing pretty well lately, and you've got to be pretty excited about that, and we're all hockey people. I will say that The temperature in the Delta Center, I go in 82 times a year, whether it's home or road, to do those games. I never take my coat off anymore because they got to keep that thing cooler. But give us your thoughts on where the hockey team is right now and the Mammoth and what's going on with them.
Yeah, look, I mean, if at the end of the day we'd be in the playoffs, I was proud of our team for making a really good push the last part of the break. It is weird that, because of the Olympics, they shut down. So the NHL is officially shut down for 2.5 to 3 weeks. And that's a unique part of, stopping the season right in the middle and sending people off to the Olympics. But it was pretty cool. I just got to watch Veggie, walk down and be there by his flag with his country. And that's a pretty cool thing to see because you can see how much it means to him and Veggie, JJ, Olimana, and obviously Kells are all representing the country over here. And so I think that's an important part of the NHL. But going into that break, I mean, it's competitive. We really need to win every game. And they did that. I mean, it's pretty easy for a team to get distracted the other night where you're 2 periods away from going to Mexico or Hawaii for most of the team. And they banded together and, really put their foot on the throats of the Detroit Red Wings. And, that was a moment for us. And, they've done this and gone on this, 11 game, winning, 9 or 10 of them without Logan Cooley and, a banged up Gunther for a little bit of it. And they're just finding ways to win. And that's what good teams do. So I think for me, it's absolutely exciting. I'm just humbled at the way that Utah's, kind of rallied around this idea of hockey. And, it's been special. And it's pretty fun to think about where we're going to be with the Jazz kind of going into next year and where hockey is going to be. It's a good time to be a sports fan in the state.
Well, there's no doubt, and especially with what's coming up in 8 years from now with Salt Lake City and Utah hosting another Olympics. What do you hope to learn in your time over there in Milan? What's the goals that you can take and bring back so that this place is going to be rocking in 8 years, which I'm sure it will, knowing you and the other people that are involved. Showcasing this state at that level is a unique opportunity, and I'm sure you guys are going to do everything you can to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, there's a group of us over here, and, we all kind of have different roles. But, for me personally, it's really trying to understand a little bit of the strategy of the venues and, how we, including opening ceremonies and just around how we help, understand the message of Utah that we want to get out there for the world. And really the experience of downtown Salt Lake. What's the experience from the time someone lands at the airport to, getting into their hotel, travel, logistics, to, the game fields and the venues that we have. I mean, we're hosting hockey at the Delta Center. The new downtown development will be done by then. And, we're here, just wrapping up opening ceremonies right now and seeing, okay, how's that going to work? And, they've got 3 different venues that they're doing, some sort of opening ceremonies at. And, I think the other thing is trying to understand how do we have Utahns have an Olympic experience, not just the 45,000 people that can get into Rice-Eccles or whatever that number is. And, I remember being in college and, I couldn't afford to go to the Olympics. And so what are we doing? How are we treating events? How are we doing it different? And there's a lot of innovation that's happened, with LA 28, for example. Opening ceremonies are going to be at SoFi, which is where the Rams and the Chargers play. But something that's super interesting is aquatics are going to be there as well. And so basically they built a swimming pool to do swimming in front of 65, 70,000 people. and that changes the entire experience of the Olympics. They're raising the field 15 feet of, where USC plays to be able to do different things. And so the innovation that's happening around the games to open up the aperture of these experiences to highlight our state, it's pretty neat. It's exciting. It's fun. We've got a lot of great people that are helping out, and it's a labor of love for everyone. And Utah's a special place because there's just so many people that care about their state. So.
Hey, you should have called me back then. That was the one time I could have hooked you up financially and got you a ticket because I was, I had enough money to get into those venues back then. I had some connections, right? You should have known me then, but it's okay. You'll enjoy this one. Hey, thanks so much for taking time, man. I know you're so busy.
No worries, guys.
We sure appreciate it, and appreciate all you do for the state. And
absolutely,
we're behind you, bro.
No, it's going to be good. We're going to go on a big run here, so I hope everyone's excited.
Oh yeah,
I know Jaren is, and it's kind of a piece, and I think from our side, I mean, the exciting part is definitely the young guys watching Isaiah and Cody and Ace fly all over the court last night. Duncan, I mean, I stayed up 4 a.m. watching the game, and it was impressive watching our young guys play. And so now's a really good time for them to get a lot of run and grow. And, these are NBA players, and, it's amazing what happens to NBA players when you give them a shot.
Ryan, can't thank you enough. Appreciate it. Enjoy your time over there, and look forward to catching up again here very soon.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
There he is, Ryan Smith, owner of the Utah Mammoth, the Utah Jazz.